Good morning, everyone. Jim Laird joining you live from Grand Pacific, Nicaragua, down here in my essentially open air kitchen. Usually, I do my broadcasts and podcasts and work upstairs on my patio, but the internet cable is not working, and the Wi-Fi up there is. I try not to use Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi up there is not very good, and it's really windy, so you wouldn't be able to hear me much. So we're down here today. Beautiful day to here today, as always. It's just the only thing that really changes here in the this, so to speak, is really the wind and the tide. And we'll be coming up in the rainy season here in a couple months. When you guys are going into, when people in the U.S. are going into summer, that's when our rainy season starts here. It's kind of the opposite. So rains for 3 to 4 hours a day, which will be greatly needed. It's already pretty dry here. So it's amazing how green things are here, despite of it being the fact that it's only rained maybe once since I've been here in 3 months. So it's pretty wild. Dr. Stillman and I, after I'm done with this, we'll be getting on our weekly class, which you can get on the email list. You can go in the link in the my link tree below to get on our email list, so you can get on those weekly lessons. Looking forward to doing that. It's always fun talking with Dr. Stillman. I learned some new things, and it's always fun. I love teaching, so that's one of the things I love doing. How to calm your mind. You talk about people, you're like, you got to learn how to relax. You got to learn how to calm your mind, and just like physical training, we talk about building work capacity and building the ability to handle stress. Learning how to calm down in our modern world and relax is a lost art, because originally, 40, 50 years ago, when you had, you didn't have 50 TV channels. You didn't have a phone that was essentially attached to your, you didn't have this device you carried around that was constantly stimulating you. It was a much simpler time. People were bored. People would spend time just relaxing on their patio. Now people have to be constantly entertained. And the reason I talk about this so much is because this is something I struggled with originally when I got ulcerative colitis. I was managing a lot of the hatred and anger that I had from my youth with powerlifting, with sports, which is a very high threshold sport. Powerlifting involves a lot of over breathing and you get revved up. And what happens is that would carry over into my, I also was very driven in my work. I wanted to get some sense of value from helping others, which is great. The problem is it led to me working very long hours. I had a hard time sitting still and being calm. When I'd sit, my leg would be twitching up and down like a jackhammer. Could never really focus on things. I always had to have something new, which was great as a strength and conditioning coach. And you're working with like 50 kids at a time. That it's perfect for that, right? It's one of the things that made me really good at what I do. One-on-one sessions used to drive me insane unless it was somebody new, because just sitting there and counting reps is not my idea of a good time. So that's why I gravitated into group training and classes that really stimulated that part of my brain. The problem is the only way I could sleep was if I was totally exhausted. And then, of course, I would have these group sessions all day, all the time. And of course, I went down the stimulant road, the caffeine, ephedra, aspirin, so I had even a harder time really unwinding. And then when I got colitis, it was a huge wake-up call that I needed to learn how to relax. And I remember the first time I tried to sit down and just sit still for a minute, I couldn't do it. So here's some of the hacks that I use. If you're a really type A driven person and you can't, even if you're out of shape, and people be like, oh, you're out of shape, you can be exhausted and your nervous system can be highly activated, even if you're not very physically active. I would argue that low-level physical activity is one of the best things you can do to actually calm your system down, which we don't do a lot of today. So the first thing I did is I started using an app called Brainwave. I think it's on my link tree. I think it still exists. I use it from time to time when I'm working. It's on my phone, so I don't know if you can download it or not anymore. But it had Brainwave, and I always try and wear corded headphones. I don't do Bluetooth. I don't want to broadcast signals through my brain. I've only got one hamster that's running as hard as it can left, and I don't want to mess that hamster up from all the head traumas I've had and stuff. So I would use brainwave. I'd put it on calm and relaxing, and I would just close my eyes and I would sit there and just do my best I could to slow my breathing down and breathe through my nose. And it was really hard for me to get to a minute and eventually 2 minutes. I also used a meditation by a guy named Roy Masters called Be Still and Know. And Roy Masters is an interesting dude. You don't have to like or dislike what he does, but he has a very effective meditation that basically just has you sit in a chair. He talks you through observing the insides of your eyelids and then basically going from fingertip to fingertip. And that really worked for me. And then I integrated float tank. So I slowly upped the game and I learned how to shut myself off. And just as people need to learn how to like rev themselves up and be intense, you also need to work on the opposite of that. You need to be able to go to the other extreme. So I was stuck in this over breathing, hyperinflated state where I was constantly just revved. And I was using stimulants, coffee. I have a good relationship with stimulants now. I can have a cup of coffee and be good. I'm not constantly reaching for things to keep me going. I understand that there's going to be times when I'm more alert and more on, and there's going to be times where I need to chill out. And most people get stuck on one side or the other, and they have a hard time switching back and forth. And the same thing with movement. You lose options in movement. You lose options in your ability to, whether it's blood pressure or whatever it is. When you lose options, that's when you generally get yourself in trouble. So I went from the brainwave to the Roy Masters meditation to float tank, and I got much better. It took about a year, but then it got much better for me to learn how to actually relax and be present and be calm. And now I still I struggle with getting caught in this high threshold state. I feel myself being pulled back there, and I have to remember to take the time. That's where my morning walks are so important with no phone. I'm doing a lot of stuff on Zoom, doing a lot of stuff on the computer. So I have to be careful that I don't get pulled back into that high threshold status, so to speak. And I go to the gym, I train hard, and do things to shut my system down. I sit in a deep squat, hold on to a post. I do some breathing drills to bring my system down so I can actually recover from my training. And of course, performance enhancing drugs played a role in me not being able to shut down too. When you're on super physiological doses of testosterone, it has a tendency to rev your nerves a ton as well. So that was a huge factor in getting myself down to a more reasonable, manageable dose over time was important in that as well. I'm completely transparent about my performance enhancing drug use, unlike many people. But I'm really grateful that I've been on both sides of the spectrum because it really helps me be able to relate and help more people. I understand, and I've had big time injuries where I've had to come back from not being able to walk. I've had massive health issues where, my health was on the line, or my life was on the line, and I had to bring myself back from a very, very low place. So I understand a lot of different people, and I can empathize with the people that are super type A that can't slow down. And I can empathize with the people that are in a really bad place that need to start slow and slowly, change things and get themselves in a better place so they can do what they want to do. So that I'm very grateful for all the experiences I've been through in my life. Another big component of me learning how to relax was me letting go of some of the hatred and anger I had. And that was a matter of just calling a couple people up and telling them that, I forgive them for, failing me. That was very difficult, but it was very freeing as well. And then, of course, I've been doing EMDR therapy, neurofeedback to also help assist my brain to learn how to calm down and relax. So that's basically step by step, more or less what I did. That might not work for you, but just do the best you can. Like start with walks outside. These should be observations where you're just observing. Oh, the birds are so pretty. The sound, get in nature. Nature kind of resets that for you. And that's the problem. Most people today never spend time outside. They never go, out in nature. They never leave their phone behind. So I would challenge you to do those simple things and focus on being calm and relaxed. So you can, when you want to push yourself, and you need to push yourself. But I'd say, Joel Jameson had a post the other day, learning how to sit calmly and quietly and relax for 5 minutes. It's just as important, if not more important, than learning how to push hard. So You need both. You need both. Just like the light, there needs to be light and darkness. We need both to be healthy. We need both to be functional. And there are people that can get away with pushing the boundaries. They tend to be younger. And you learn as you age that you have to manage all these things a little bit better. But I just wanted to, people talk about, be present, be in the moment. How do you do that if you don't know how? And the key is to start slowly. And I will tell you, if you've been a high rev person for a long time and then you finally learn how to relax, it's one of the most freeing and liberating experiences you'll ever have. And some people need a little help. Like acupuncture helped me a lot because it forced me to lay on a table with needles in, and it forced me to learn how to go into massage helped as well. Like more therapeutic massage, not like hard tissue, not like really digging deep tissue type stuff. I would do more restorative. Also the things that would help. Restorative yoga was really helpful too. I would use all these different tools because you basically go into a room with a bunch of people and they prop you in different, very comfortable positions, and you basically breathe in these positions. And so these are all things that I use to help me kind of learn how to do that, right? And then over time, I can basically anywhere I am, if I'm in a bus or if I'm riding as a passenger in a car, I can slow my breathing down and go into a state where I'm completely calm and relaxed without as much external help as they used to need. But sometimes you need some of these other tools to basically help you get there. And nature's free, obviously. I would just say go to a park, lay down in the grass, and just melt into the ground. That's one of my favorite ways. But there's just a few ideas for you. But no matter where you are, just start somewhere. The key is to start, and the key is to get a modality. It could be massage, restorative yoga, tai chi. Get a modality that is convenient for you, that you can actually do consistently over time. Float tank once a week. 7-minute meditation every day, before bed, in the morning, whatever it is. Take time in the afternoon. Just pick one or two things that are sustainable and just be consistent with them. So I hope that helps you out. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope to see you on the lesson here in about 10 minutes. If not, get on the email list so you can be on the one next week. Dr. Stillman and I share all sorts of fun information on these lessons. It's a reward for you being on our email list. And I hope you have yourself a great day. Make sure you take time to get outside. You deserve it.